And we're on.
Okay, I thought I would.
you go, Annabelle. I was just gonna say
Wait.
for the one person that watches this, that this is the weekly group discussion for container security.
Yeah.
Over to
Okay.
you.
I'm going to walk through the current designs for the scan result security policies. I was planning on doing solution validation for this week, but it's not ready for that. So I'm still working on the designs. And then once Camelia starts working on it too, and we decide it's, well, when she decides it's in a good place, then we'll do some proper solution validation to make sure that the whole flow makes sense. But I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to look at this, so I'll run through it. Okay, so this is the small update to the existing merge request approval widget that exists in the merge request settings at the project view. For people who don't have any policies set up, I'm proposing a little banner that says you can do more for vulnerability checks with a policy, and then you can create that policy here, or you can just dismiss it. We'll still have vulnerability check available at that project level for a few milestones at least, while we hopefully get customers more interested in the policies. If a policy has been enabled, it will show up here in the list, and there'll be a little badge that says security policy. If you click view details, you can see what that policy entails. And it's kind of a read-only view, so you can't edit it from here, but you can go and look at that policy on the policy page, and then from there you can make edits and open merge request. This is what the policy page looks like for the scan result policy. This is really just one state of what it's going to look like, or it could look like. In this case, you can read the rules that will trigger this rule, and then you can add different users or groups via this little drop down. We changed the wording from save policy to create merge request because that's what you're essentially doing, and I didn't want there to be any confusion over why this policy hasn't been enabled or anything like that. It's not really being saved. So we're going to do create merge request. There's a banner here, and I think that Sam, you had some reservations about the banner. I think it's a good idea. Now I'm going to circle back to that because I have some questions actually, but hopefully users will notice that this is going to open a merge request in a separate project. Then they can click that button. If they don't see it or read it, that's fine too. They'll notice it when they end up on this page. And this is the sort of pre-filled merge request template. It's kind of similar to the SAS configuration that we already have. So it'll just link back to the policy list and create that merge request. And this is just the same. It's the basic merge request flow. And then here, this is what I just updated. This is like the fourth time I've updated this page, so I apologize. That policy that you just created will show up here at the top, and it will say not enabled. In this case, I put 2, I don't know why. So there are 2 open merge requests associated with that policy. And if you hover over it, you get a popover that links to the 2 merge requests. And the policy type is below enabled or not enabled are the 2 states that I thought would work. We might need another one. And I guess that's it. That's it for the whole flow. Excuse me. Does anyone have any questions about that?
I believe with the scan execution policies now, when you click the create merge request button, it just goes to the newly created merge request, and it doesn't go to like a pre-filled template. Yeah, it goes to the screen instead of the prior screen. What would be the benefits of having this intermediate state?
That's a good question. I don't actually, I don't know why SAS does it. So maybe there was a reason. Does anyone else know?
Because seemed like a good idea at the time. I don't know.
Oh,
Because you can edit all these things anyways.
I don't think I understand the difference. Isn't it exactly the same as we're proposing?
like
This
he's
is
saying that we could
exactly
skip
this.
this page.
Yeah, I'm with Tiago. I'm a little bit confused. When they click create merge request, we take them straight to this page, right?
Right. Well, yeah, that's what Annabelle is proposing, and that's what SAS is doing. But for the current project for scan execution, we don't take them to this page. We take them to the next page. If they click the create merge request button,
This
we take them to
page.
this page.
Oh, we don't give them a chance to amend anything.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, because it is odd because we have create merge request and then we take them to another page where they have the same. Now that you've changed the wording, Annabelle, it's actually the same on both pages. So they have to click create merge request twice. And at what point are you actually creating it?
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's the same. Yeah.
And then I don't, yeah. And my question was, I mean, why would we take them to this page when they can edit all these things on the merge request after it's already been created anyways?
I guess you don't have to go back and edit. And I mean, certain things are only available in the edit view, right? Maybe not.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
that's
good
part of the
question. And probably one of these that we resolve by testing, right? Say, hey, as a user, would you prefer this or that? I don't know what's the more likely, what's the same default?
Yeah, I agree. We can find out through testing. I think I like seeing the merge request here before it actually goes through. That might just be me. I like to see it before I hit create, just because that's the expected behavior. If we bypass that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I guess it's done and I wasn't ready. I don't know. That might be why SAS did it. We can always check on that.
Yeah,
Maybe
see, and
that
that
should
was my
be.
comment about the banner, is that it feels a little bit redundant. I guess the banner feels redundant with that intermediate page because I feel like that page is basically saying the same thing that the banner says. So if we did do what Alexander is suggesting and we just created the merge request, then I think the banner makes a lot more sense to explain what's about to happen. But yeah, so I guess it depends on our workflow.
So I have the banner up as well because I wanted to know what the flow would be if there was no security approval project created yet. Can I still click new policy? And if so, at what point is it auto created?
So I think there was some confusion about this while I was on PTO. But you should be able to just go straight into creating a new policy. And then when you click create, like at the bottom, when you click that blue button, that's when we should be creating the project if it doesn't already exist.
If that's the case, then we can probably, I think the banner should be there explaining that too.
Yeah.
So I think I saw your comment. I didn't know if I don't actually know who the merge request author was. I think we got it resolved and we did do the correct flow. So the new policy did go to the policy page and the edit project did open the modal. That was what I was expecting, but I don't know if that's actually what happened.
Yeah, that would be the desired behavior though. Clicking new policy should just go straight to the new policy page. And then when you actually click at the bottom, we should probably change that to be consistent with whatever we decide here. But when you click create merge request, then it should automatically create the project if it does not already exist and create the merge request in that project.
So maybe the question, I guess, then is, yeah, is it on this button or is it when you actually create that merge request?
You will need to be on this button.
Yeah, it would be on this button.
And that's currently how it works for scan execution policies. In the MR I have up is you click create merge request. It does a check for a security policy project. If it doesn't have one, it creates it, auto links it, and then creates the merge request on there. And if it already has one, then it just creates the merge request. But it does go straight to the merge request and not the merge request template.
Would if we want to give the user the option to review the merge request before hitting create, would it make sense to change that button there to say start merge request instead of create?
That might work.
Just a thought. I'm not particularly.
Start.
Yeah, because it is a bit odd to have the exact same terminology twice. Like, you know, I mean, we could always test this, but as a user, I would feel like, oh, I clicked create merge request. Why didn't it create it? Now I have to click create merge request again. You know, like
You ruined my day.
Right? But if we don't have that intermediate page and we do it as it is now, like I said, I think the banner makes a lot more sense because they don't have that second page to review it. So having a banner to explain what's about to happen when you click the big blue button, again, I think we should keep the banner if we're just creating it right there.
Right. And if it already does exist and we are having the usual merge request flow, then a banner probably isn't necessary. This probably is already worked out. I'm assuming it is. I just don't know the answer. If I'm a user who does not have access to the security approval project, and there is no security approval project, I don't see the new policy button, right? And I don't see anything probably.
So only owners are allowed to create a security policy project initially, like to do that linking. So only the project owner should have that access.
So before the owner does that, I remember I had an empty state somewhere and I just can't find, so this is what the page would look like.
So the project owner would see everything here. If you're not a project owner, then you would not have any of those buttons. You would not have the new policy button and you would not have the edit policy project button.
Okay, but as soon as a security approval project does exist, as a project maintainer of the development project, I can create a new policy, right?
Yes, well.
Or even
yeah,
a developer.
exactly. You're able to open that MR. It's just you're not able to merge it in by default. But you can create a new policy which opens the MR.
Maybe maybe we could have some text here that says you need to contact your
Project
admin for what it's the group owner or namespace owner.
It's the project owner.
Oh. Okay, we'll figure that out.
I have a question with that regarding network policies or container run. What did we say? Container policies. Is that what we settled on?
I think that's what we settled on. Yeah.
Those didn't require you to be an owner to create. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot about those. So you would still have the new policy button, but you would not be able to create a new scan execution policy yet.
Right. So I think right now for scan execution, it was easiest. I know it wasn't even the easiest. I just like great. Like allowed you to select the scan execution policy still, but grayed out the create merge request button. Probably a better solution is just graying out the scan execution policy selection in the dropdown. When you click new policy and then you select what type of policy you're creating, have it there, but gray it out.
But then we have a similar sort of empty state where you select it and it just says, you know, contact your project, the owner of this project, because you don't yet have a security policy project linked. So that way,
right. Okay. So
answer.
Right. So you still want scan execution as a type selectable, but now it just shows the empty state.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, Annabelle, we misled you. Good catch, Alexander. Forgot about the container policies.
So we do not need this page.
Yeah, so you can put that back how it was before. What we need instead is an empty state when you're selecting the policy type.
Oh, so if I go here or
Right, so you can create the one type of policy, but not the other type of policy. And so we need an empty state for that scenario that directs them to contact the owner of the project.
okay. I should write that down.
Is there a link that we could offer for a better, more direct call to action? Because if you just say contact the owner of the project, maybe the owner of the project doesn't know what to do. They get it away and do what? But if you say ask the owner of the project to click here to create a management project, I don't know, suggestion.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we do have documentation on it, so we certainly can provide a link for
Yeah,
them.
details.
Yeah, I can look at what other features do, and we can do something similar.
Sam, would you like this empty state to exist for the current project for scan execution policies before we turn on the feature flag?
What are we doing right now?
Oh,
you said it's just grayed out, right? Yeah, that's okay.
I grayed out the create merge request button, and I remember thinking I should ask someone about this, and then I forgot to. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
it's
probably
coming late.
okay. We should make that a fast follow on, but the functionality is there. It's just not as good of a user experience as it could be.
Cool. Thanks.
That's a good call, Sam. In the spirit of iteration.
There's no iteration emoji that I can post, but here's a heart.
I had a minor nit slash language maybe curiosity. On the second, I think, screen they showed, Annabelle, it says enabled, not enabled. Do you prefer that to enable disabled?
Yeah, I used not enabled because that's what we use on the security configuration page. And I think that's what we started with before I started messing everything around. I want to say, and don't quote me on this, and it's being recorded, I feel like disabled isn't a word we should be using as much anymore. I don't know if that's a sure thing.
I was thinking about it, saying, I wonder if this is one of these words that we shouldn't be using. Yeah.
I don't know if that's why. I don't like it as much anyway. I don't know why. I find not enabled clearer to me, more clear.
Yeah. Well, because you pass the not and you move on, right? Enable, not, enable, not, enable, not. But yeah, sorry, Sam.
Nicole Schwartz. You should get her opinion on it.
For me, it was I was curious because I couldn't think of somewhere else to look for a pattern, but it sounds like it's consistent. So I don't mind. I was just curious.
It is. And I think the reason also is because disabled, I feel like implies an action, whereas this just isn't enabled. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
For a need to extend it to I was curious though. Don't worry about it.
We could also change it and go with active and inactive. Might be another way to go.
And then the sedentary people maybe, you know, why are you so inactive?
So I don't know what we want to do when the policy doesn't exist yet. Annabelle, it looked like you were suggesting it would just say not enabled, but it might be a little bit confusing. So if you've got an open MR to create a new policy that does not yet exist, and that MR would set the policy to be enabled, it gets a little bit confusing because, like, is this enabled? Is it not? I don't know. I could just foresee maybe some confusion there. I almost wonder if just leaving it blank would be better if the policy doesn't exist at all, because it doesn't exist. So it technically doesn't have a status as of yet. I don't know. Not sure.
Pending
Yeah,
approval.
pending.
What
we
about,
had that.
We had that.
and wait, oh yeah, what happened with pending?
It doesn't really fall in the same category as enabled or not enabled. It's not like that's a state that you can set in that area. So we removed it. And so did I take pending out completely?
What if we,
I don't remember seeing it. I think so.
what if
Yeah,
we put it in there as not enabled, and then we also like gray it out a little?
we can't rely on color for that kind of stuff because it's not accessible. And we do that with like closed issues. If you look at related, one of the related issues are merge request blocks. I didn't even know it was gray for a long time, and that's what we were saying is closed. But yeah, that's a good point. I do need to put back the pending. I removed it, and it doesn't have any sort of, other than like I added the open merge request links, but that doesn't mean much for not merged policies. So let me put that back somewhere.
What about needs approval?
Yeah, pending approval. I didn't want to put it in that column, but I need to put it somewhere. I just don't know where yet. I won't be doing it right now. I just put a note in the design.
Cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for running through this, Annabelle. I'm really excited to see where all this is headed. I think, you know, we're all making some really great progress in this area. So looking forward to seeing it all come out.
Thank you for pinging the engineers on it as well. Thank you.
Annabelle or anyone else, are there any more topics for today?
Not
All
according
right.
to the agenda.
Well, thanks everyone. Have a good week.
See you later.
Bye.
Hi, friends.